one word, people run away from me. When I mention one word, people, children, parents, adults, they run away from me until I give them another word and then I can't get rid of them. And the word is fractions. People, young people, adults, children do not like fractions. And fractions is my favorite topic. It's my favorite math topic, and I just cannot get enough of fractions. So today's show is about fractions, fractions, and even more fractions. And I'm beaming and I'm smiling because it's going to be an absolutely amazing show about fractions. So we need to start somewhere, don't we? Let's start by understanding what is a fraction. But I'm going to start my explanation by giving you a phrase. I'm going to say to you, I need a fraction of your time. Now, if I said that to you, what does that mean? Does that mean that I need all of your time? Or does that mean I need a bit of your time? It means I need a bit of your time. Not all of your time. I need some part of your time. This is what fractions mean. A fraction is a part of a whole. We're looking at how many equal parts of the whole are we talking about, are we considering? And when we talk about fractions, we can think about the number of parts the whole is broken up into. That's my phrase. The number of parts, one whole, the whole, W-H-O-L-E, the whole is broken up into. So what does a fraction look like? Well, I'm going to paint a mental picture of what a fraction looks like. Imagine you write the number 3 on a piece of paper. Underneath the number 3, that 3-digit, you're going to put a short little line, and then underneath that line, you can write the number 4. So you've got 3 above the line, and you've got 4 underneath the line. That's what a fraction, that's what a proper fraction looks like. And that line in the middle, think about it, think of it as a division line. It's a division line. 3 out of 4. 3 divided by 4. So this is what fractions mean. Fractions are part of a whole. And in the primary school, we teach you about the part-whole model. We teach you about bar modeling. And even in year 7, 8, and 9, we teach you about bar modeling. In science and physics, I teach year 9s and year 10s using a bar model. So maths comes into everything, every profession, every career. Remember, this is National Careers Week, supported and promoted by maths makers. Maths is about understanding. It's about problem solving. It's about making sense of your world of numbers, and it is a science. So we know what maths means, and we know what it looks like. 3, horizontal line, 4. And we say that 3/4. So 3/4 is not a whole. It is part of the whole, because you've got 2 parts to your fraction. The number, the digit that you've got above that little horizontal line is called the numerator. And the number underneath that line is called the denominator. Think of it this way. The denominator is the total amount of parts that you've got. The numerator is the parts that you are going to use of that whole. So in the fraction 3/4, I'm going to take 3 out of those 4 pieces. So I've not used all of those 4 equal pieces. I've used only 3 of those 4 equal pieces. And this is what fractions are all about. Remember, the number of parts the whole is broken up into. Fractions mean a part of a whole. How many equal parts of the whole are we using? Are we being given? Are we considering? Are we talking about? That is what fractions mean. So therefore, there's nothing to worry about when we talk about fractions. That's it. Now, obviously, there are different levels and parts of fractions that we teach you and that you need to know about. But at the end of the day, fractions is just about parts of a whole. And if you keep that in your mind, you will never be scared of fractions. All of these things about converting a proper and improper to a mixed number, what is a proper fraction, what is a unit fraction, these are just mathematical ways and terms of describing what fractions are and what fractions can do. So there really isn't any reason for anyone to be scared of fractions. So let's deep dive, let's go further into our understanding of fractions. I've painted a mental picture of what fraction looks like. A proper fraction looks like you've got your numerator is smaller than the denominator. So in the fraction 3/4, the 3 is the numerator, which is above the line, and the 4 is the denominator, which is below that little horizontal line. And that horizontal line in the middle, think of it as division. Now, what that means to me is I've got 4 equal parts, and I'm going to take 3 of them. I'm taking 3 out of the 4 equal parts. I'm just showing it on the live stream. I've got 3 horizontal line. I've got 4. So they've got 3 at the top, 4 underneath, the dividing line in between. That is what 3/4 means. So that is what we call a proper fraction. We call it a proper fraction because the numerator is smaller than the denominator. You've learned something already. And what I'm teaching you, what I'm showing you this evening, you'll be able to use it from year 2, that's 6, 7, 8-year-olds, from year 2 right through to year 11, GCSE, and beyond, and even as an adult. So can you see the power and can you see the benefit of listening, tuning in, and taking part in the math show every Wednesday, Chalk Hill Community Radio Station, between the hour of 5:30 and 6:30. That is what maths is all about. And this is what makes maths so special. Okay, so we know what a proper fraction looks like. Let me just introduce to you now what we call a unit fraction. Unit, U-N-I-T, a unit fraction. Now, this is going to get easier this evening because a unit fraction simply means this. A unit fraction means you have got a 1 as your numerator. That is it. Can you imagine when I said unit fraction, maybe some of you were thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get this. But can you see how easy and how simple it is? A unit fraction has got 1 as its numerator. So for example, 1/4. 1 is the numerator, 4 is the denominator. 1/3. 1 is the numerator, 3 is the denominator. 1/9. 1 is the numerator, 9 is the denominator. 1/15. 1 is the numerator, 15 is the denominator. Those 4 fractions were examples of unit fractions. Why were they unit fractions? Because you've got 1 of each. You've got 1 as your numerator. You've got 1 out of 15 parts, 1 out of 4 parts, 1 out of 3 parts, 1 out of 9 parts. That is what a unit fraction is. So we know what a fraction is. We're not scared of fractions. We know what a fraction looks like. We're not scared of what a fraction looks like. And we now know about a unit fraction, and we're not scared of what a unit fraction looks like and what it means. So we're almost halfway there for you to understand fractions and for you not to be scared or worried about fractions. I'm going to say it again. A fraction is the number of parts the whole is broken up into. That is all a fraction is. If you've got a birthday cake and you divide your birthday cake into 8 pieces and you take 3 of them, you have taken 3 out of those 8 pieces. 3 is the numerator, 8 is the denominator. Why is 8 the denominator? Because that was the total number of slices of the cake that you cut the cake up into. And you've just taken 3 of them. So you've taken 3 out of 8 pieces. So you've not taken all of the 8 pieces, because that would be everything. But you've only taken 3 out of the 8 pieces. You've taken less than half of the birthday cake. Can you see how magical and how much fun learning about maths is? And that's what Maths Makers is all about. It's Maths Makers bring maths to you. You're in the classroom, you're online, but they make it exciting. They make it fun. They make it real. They make it relevant. But that's what I do as well. That's what Mr. Numbervator does. That's what Sovereign Comics does. So between Mr. Numbervator and Sovereign Comics, we are doing exactly the same thing as Maths Makers. And there's other organizations out there, other charitable organizations out there who are doing amazing work to enrich our young people. And once you've got that maths knowledge and ability, when you make your careers choice, and remember, this week is National Careers Week, when you make your careers choice, you will have to have a good command of mathematics. So that's why you start now. Then as you get older, you get better and better. It was interesting. I was walking past a college in Enfield, and a lot of young people were walking out, and they were aged between 16, 17, 18, 19, that age range. And as I was walking past, on the windows, on the buildings, it had different professions. Do you want to be a pilot? Do you want to be a lawyer? Do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a nurse? Do you want to be a footballer? Do you want to be a radio show host? That is the reason why it had all that information, because it was encouraging young people to make the correct career choice for them. It's about for us as individuals. I made my career choice when I was 16. I wanted to be a teacher, and that's how I came to be Mr. Numbervator years later. Not too many years later, but years later. So it's your turn now, young people. You're making your career's choice. Make sure you involve mathematics. Make sure you log in to sovereigncomics.co.uk, because when you go to sovereigncomics.co.uk, there's even more information about careers choice. There's even more information about mathematics. There's so much going on. Okay, good. So we know what a unit fraction is. Here's another bit of terminology. An improper fraction, not an improper fraction, because some people spell I-N. It's not an improper, it's an improper. I-M-P-R-O-P-E-R. Improper fraction. Once again, there's nothing to be worried about. An improper fraction, I think, is even easier than a unit fraction. An improper fraction means the bigger number is the numerator and the smaller number is the denominator. That is it. That is it, listeners, viewers. That is it. Instead of having 3 at the top and 4, which is a proper fraction, An improper fraction would have 4 and 3. You can't tell me that's difficult. What do we mean by an improper fraction? Well, when I was younger, I was naughty. Now, when I was behaving properly, i.e. proper fraction, properly, when I was behaving properly, I got rewarded. I was given little sweets that mum had in a bag in the cupboard at the top there that I couldn't reach. When I was behaving improperly, I didn't get anything. I was sent to my bedroom. Improper means something does not look the same. It's not behaving in the way that you are accustomed to, that you are expecting. An improper fraction looks different because the denominator is smaller than the numerator. It's bigger than the numerator. It's smaller than the numerator. The numerator is bigger than the denominator. That's what an improper fraction. That's all it means. Viewers, listeners, people who are walking with their headphones and they're listening to the math show. And I know that some of you do that. That is all what an improper fraction means. So once again, there's nothing to worry about. So what words have we covered so far? Numerator, denominator, divide line, unit fraction, proper fraction, improper fraction. This is what fractions means. Yes, I know fractions can look challenging and complicated, and you're sitting there thinking, I don't know what to do. But that is what learning is all about. If you can't kick a ball, how can you play football? You have to learn. If you do not learn how to ride a bike, you're going to fall off it. The same with maths. You need to know the rules. You need to know the methods. You need to know the strategies. And that's what happens in the classroom, in the school, in the college, in the university. If you want to be a pilot, you need maths and physics and science. It's all to do with maths and numbers, plotting the direction of the aeroplane. How steep is the slope of your climb? How high are you in the clouds? When I flew to Ghana recently, the plane was 37,000 kilometers up in the sky. That is very high. But I was thoroughly enjoying watching all of the numbers move all the time. That is what fractions is all about. Okay, so we've had proper, we've had improper, and we've had unit fractions, and we know the difference between the two. Let me introduce to you another type of to do with fractions, and these are called mixed numbers. Years ago, 20 years ago or more, they used to be called mixed fractions, but we do not call them mixed fractions anymore. They are called mixed numbers. Why are they called mixed numbers? Well, they are called mixed numbers because you've got a whole number, and then next to the whole number, you've got that little fraction. So for example, 3 2/3. 3 is the whole number. So that means 3 wholes. And the 2/3 is the fraction, because 2/3 is part of the 4th whole, the next whole number, the next whole bit. So 3 2/3 is what we call a mixed number. You've got your whole number, 3, 4, 5, 12, 15, and then you've got your fraction bit. So another example of a mixed number is 7 1/4, 11 3/5, 25 2/7, 99 1/3. They are all examples of mixed numbers. I know some of you are sitting there thinking you didn't know that maths could be so much fun. Let's go back to what maths makers are always saying: sums for fun. And I'm saying fractions for fun, because we're having fun learning about fractions. And that's what the math show is all about. And if you go to Sovereign Comics, all one word, .co.uk, we've got comics that teach you about fractions. equivalent fractions. We've got workbooks where you can work through the books and you can become better at fractions, addition of fractions, multiplication of fractions, converting fractions. That's what we do. And we do it every Wednesday between the hour of 5:30 and 6:30 on Chalk Hill Community Radio Station. So this part of the show, so we're going to go to a short ad break. The first part of the show, I've explained, I've described, I've painted a mental picture of what a fraction is, what it looks like, and what you can do with it, what it means. After the break, we're going to be looking at converting an improper fraction into a mixed number into a proper improper fraction. We're going to be looking at addition of fractions with the same denominator and with different denominators. And if there's time, we're going to be looking at fractions of an amount. So for example, £300, and I want to know what is 3/4 of £300. We're going to be looking at all of this fun bit of maths. And this math show, sponsored by Sovereign Comics, is for you. Whether you're a teacher and you've got an inspection the next day, tomorrow, you can call me and I can get you through the inspection. There's nothing to worry about the Ofsted inspectors. You can show them more than what they know. That's what I do. So whatever school I've worked with, they have never failed in the maths department in an Ofsted inspection. In fact, they've been recognised and it's been promoted in the report. So if you're a teacher, let me know. If you've got a lesson tomorrow that you're being observed by the head teacher when they do their learning walks, let me know. If you're a parent and you've got a young person who's doing some mock exams or who's got a test tomorrow or who's come home and said, Mum, Dad, we're looking at percentages, I don't know what it means, I can help you. We've got a book at Sovereign Comics to do with percentages, so that can help you. So this show is for you. You could be a school governor, you could be a head teacher, and you want to know who is the right person to be the maths lead in your school. I can direct you on that. Maybe there's a weakness in the maths department and you need someone to come in and tighten it up and bring it up to a certain level. I'm the one to do that for you. Whether you are a young person, you've got homework, the maths show. Whether you're in year 8, 9, 10 or 11, you've got your mocks, you've got your exam, you've got your tests, you've got your assessments. I'm the one to do it. So the maths show is for you. We're going to go to a really quick short ad break. And then when we come back, we're going to be looking at how do we convert, how do we change fractions from one fraction into another. See you shortly.
You're listening to Chalk Hill Community Radio.
And get your latest issue of Mr. Numbervator's Maths comic book series today. You are now tuned in to the Mr. Numbervator show every Wednesday from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. on Chalk Hill Community Radio Station. Let's get mathematical.
Hello, good evening, and welcome back to part 2 of the Math Show with me, Mr. Numbervator, on Chalk Hill Community Radio Station, where every Wednesday between the hour of 5:30 and 6:30, you are getting the best maths information, the best maths teaching, the best maths knowledge, and you are getting the best teacher at what he does. Not the best maths teacher, but the best teacher of maths at what he does. And yes, that is me, Mr. Numbervator. Mr. Numbervator. Okay, so today's show is about fractions, and even more fractions. And it's about fractions for fun. Okay, it's about making you excited about learning about fractions, making you want to learn more about fractions. So before we had the short ad break, we spoke about what does a fraction, what does the word fraction mean? And I gave you my definition. The number of parts the whole is broken up into. That's what a fraction is. A part of a whole. How many equal parts of a whole are being considered, thought about, used, taken? That's what a fraction is. And then you've got parts of the fraction. The number above the horizontal line is the numerator, and the number underneath the line below that division line is the denominator. The denominator tells you the total number of parts, and the numerator tells you how many of those total parts you're going to take. For example, you have got a cake, a birthday cake, and you've cut your birthday cake into 8 equal pieces, and you take 5 of those 8 pieces. You have taken 5 out of 8 pieces. 5 would be your numerator, 8 would be your denominator. Brilliant. You know what fraction looks like, you know what it means. A unit fraction always has 1 as the numerator. A unit fraction always has 1 as the numerator. A proper fraction, for example, 3/4, where you've got 3 is the numerator, 4 is the denominator, that is what we call a proper fraction. An improper fraction, improper, is where you have got, it's the other way around. Your denominator is smaller than the numerator. So for example, 5 over 3, 5/3. That is an example of an improper fraction. Then you've got a mixed number, and a mixed number is where you've got a whole number, like 3, and then you've got a fraction bit, let's say 2/5. You've got 3 and 2/5. That is what a mixed number looks like. So let's, for example, we've got 3 whole cakes, and then you've got a 4th cake where you've only got 2 out of the 5 pieces that you can take. So each of the other 3 cakes were divided into 5 equal pieces. So that's 15 pieces altogether, plus the 3 that you've got from the 4th cake. 15 plus 3 is 18. So you've got 18 pieces. And then you've taken whatever you're going to take as the numerator. So listen, this is what makes fractions so exciting. Okay, so we know what a fraction looks like. We know what it means. We understand that fractions is part of a whole. So, excuse me, ordering fractions. Now I've said to you that there's parts of fractions where you need to learn and you need to be taught. Ordering fractions ordering fractions is just that. So how do we order fractions? Well, the way that I order fractions is by using a rectangular bar. Yes. The way that I order fractions is by using a rectangular bar. I'm going to explain to you what that means and what it looks like. Let's just say, for example, you have got the fraction 3/4. I'm going to draw a nice rectangular bar, let's say 9 centimeters long, 3 centimeters wide, that rectangular bar size. And I'm going to split that rectangular bar into 4 equal pieces. I'm going to color in 3 of those 4 equal pieces. So I have colored in 3/4 of my rectangular bar. Now underneath that rectangular bar, I'm going to draw another rectangular bar, exactly the same size, 9 long, 3 wide, exactly the same size. And I'm going to divide the second bar into 5 equal pieces. And then I'm going to color in 2 of those 5 pieces. So that means I've colored in 2/5. Now this is where maths becomes exciting for me, for you, for everyone. You've got your 2 rectangular bars. On the top one, you've colored in 3 out of the 4 pieces. And on the second one, you've colored in 2 out of the 5 pieces. And we now want to know which of those 2 fractions, 3/4 or 2/5, which of those 2 fractions is the biggest. We want to put them into order. Smallest to biggest, ascending order. The way to do it, which I'm teaching it visually on the radar, because I'm not using a chalkboard, I'm not using a whiteboard, I'm using our oral skills to do with listening. If you look at those 2 rectangular bars, on which of those 2 rectangular bars have I colored in most of? So look at those 2 rectangular bars. Which one have I colored in most of the bar? It's the top one. It's the first one. You can compare with the second one because on the top one, the color goes along the bar much further than the one underneath, the second one. So that just tells me 3/4 is bigger than, more than 2/5. This is how easy maths can be. I've made you visualize. I've painted a mental picture of what 3/4 looks like, what 2/5 looks like. We've compared the 2 fractions. We've ordered the 2 fractions. And these are key skills to do with fractions. And I know that some of you are going to send me a message and say, you didn't know that fractions could be so easy. That's what I like to do. I like to make your learning easy. Not only easy, I like to make it fun. Even if you're doing quadratic equations in year 11, I can teach you quadratic equations in year 11 in a fun, interactive way. If you're doing iterations in year 11, which is another really big topic, I can teach iterations in a fun, engaging way. So in other words, maths is always going to be fun and engaging. Why? Because there's always a fun way to teach it. And that's what I do. That's what I do best. I've never said I'm the best maths teacher, although some people do say I am, but I've never said that. But what I have always said is that I'm the best at what I do. That's what I do. Can you imagine teaching quadratic equations in about what? 10 minutes? Making it fun, making it real, making it relevant, making it purposeful. That is what I can do. That is my talent. I can't change a car tire, but I can teach maths to a high level. We all can't be good at everything. And wouldn't life be boring if we were all good at everything? Right, so you've just compared 2 fractions. Why don't we get even more exciting? And why don't we bring in another fraction? 1/3. Let's bring in 1/3, okay? Let's just bring in 1/3. And so what we've got now is we've got 3 fractions and we want to put them into ascending order. We want to compare the three fractions, which is smallest, which is the biggest, and what's the one in the middle. Okay, right, so we've got one rectangular bar, the one on the top, 4 equal pieces, 3 have been colored in. We've got our second rectangular bar, 5 equal pieces, 2 have been colored in. And remember, the rectangular bars are exactly the same length and width. And then we're going to do another third rectangular bar, the same length and width, 9 long, 3 wide. And you're going to cut it into 3 equal pieces. And then you're going to color in 1 out of those 3 pieces. So that means you've colored in 1/3. You've colored in a fraction of the whole. We're going to put them into order. But it's going to be easy to do that. Just think about it. Which fraction, which rectangular bar has got the smallest, the least amount of color on it? Which of those fractions, which of those 3 rectangular bars has got the smallest amount of coloring in on it? It's the third. So that's the smallest fraction. Which of those 3 rectangular bars has got the next most amount of color on it? It's the 2/3. And then obviously the third one has got the most coloring in, and that is 3/4. 1/3, 2/5, 3/4. 2 marks in a test. Wasn't that easy peasy, lemon squeezy? This is the power of mathematics. This is what makes maths so exciting. So not only do you know about unit fractions, not only do you know about mixed numbers, but you are now comparing and ordering fractions. And these are all key skills of fractions that you need to know, that you need to understand how to do. And that is what makes maths so exciting. And that's the reason why we need more of maths makers around the country in the 32 London boroughs, because they make maths fun. They make it accessible to you in your school and online as well. Maths makers. Wow, isn't maths exciting? But of course, you've got maths makers, but you've got me though, haven't you? So I sit at the top, yeah? Don't forget that. I sit at the top, Mr. Numbervator's at the top, and then you've got everything else underneath. Okay, don't forget that. I've got to big myself up as well. Okay? I am supporting maths makers. But remember where you heard it first, on the maths show with me, Mr. Numbervator. And maths makers are going to be in the studio soon. And I'll let you know the date. You can put it into your diaries. It's going to be really, really, really exciting. Okay, look how far we've come. Let's look at an improper fraction and how we can convert it, how we can change it, how we can make it into a mixed number. So you've got an improper fraction. I'm going to write 7/3. So 7 is my numerator and 3 is my denominator. This is what we call an improper fraction, because a proper fraction, a normal fraction that you see, for example, 2/3, the numerator is smaller than the denominator. But with an improper fraction, the denominator is smaller than the numerator, or the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So, what does that mean? It means that you have to make the improper fraction look different. And we make it look different by converting it into a mixed number. When we convert it into a mixed number, it has more visual meaning to us. So, How do I turn 7/3, 7/3, into a mixed number? This is going to be easy because it's the times tables now. So we've got 7 parts, okay? How many lots of 3 can divide into those 7 parts? How many groups of 3 can we get from those 7 parts? And remember, 7 is the numerator. So how many groups of 3 can we get from those 7 parts? Well, if I know my 3 times table, 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6. I can't go to the next one, okay, because that will be 9 parts and we've only got 7. So I'm going to stop at 6. So that was 2 whole parts plus 1 left over. So 7/3 as an improper fraction is converted into 2 and 1/3. 2 is the whole number and 1/3 is the fraction bit of it. So now that we know what to do, why don't we convert the mixed number back into the improper fraction? Let's have some fun. It's going to be easy again. I don't know why I keep saying it's going to be easy all the time, because it is easy. How do we change the mixed number into an improper fraction? Right. Do you remember what I said? A mixed number has got a whole number followed by a fraction. So the mixed number that I've got is 2. 2 is the big 2. That's the big whole number. And 1/3, 1/3. I'm going to take my whole number 2 and I'm going to multiply it by the denominator number. So my denominator is 3 from 1/3. 2 times 3 is 6. And then I'm going to look at my numerator and I'm going to add whatever that number is. 6 plus 1 is 7. And what was our original improper fraction? It was 7/3, 7/3. Can you see what is going on? Can you just see what is going on here? We are making maths come alive. We are making maths purposeful. We are making maths real. We are making maths the subject that people want to learn about. We are talking about maths in a friendly, fun, exciting way. And when maths makers come onto the maths show with me, it's going to be such an amazing, electric show. We're going to have 3 or 4 members of maths makers. Let me say that again. We're going to have maybe 3 or 4 members of maths makers. Bit of a tongue twister there. And we're all going to be talking about what maths makers is, what it does, what it can do. It's going to be great. It's going to be great on Mr. Numbervator's maths show every Wednesday between the hour of 5:30 and 6:30, sponsored, supported, followed by Sovereign Comics. And as you know, Dean's in the studio. He's always in the studio. He's always supporting the math show. And when people have questions, when people want to know more about Sovereign Comics, Dean is the only person who can do that. The main person. So you can call into Dean sometimes. We could have a show, Call Dean, and Dean can answer all of your technical problems, all of your problems to do with comics and making comics and designing comics and drawing characters. Dean's the person, especially when he's been to Paris and back again. Right, okay, so let's carry on. Right, so we've done so much this evening. We're getting to the end of the math show. So before we finish, I just want to announce something interesting because it means something to me. It's personal. March the 6th is a special day because March the 6th, which is going to be this Friday, is Ghana Independence Day. And you all know that I'm from Ghana. That's my country. Right. So Ghana has got its Independence Day. Independence means it broke away from British colonial rule. 69 years ago in 1957. So this coming Friday is Ghana Independence Day. And I mention Ghana because I go to Ghana regularly and I work in the Ghana schools. I'm working with Ghanaian teachers. I'm giving back what I have got here, what I've learned here, to Ghana. And then I'm coming back from Ghana with good ideas that they have given and taught me. It's a two-way process. And I'm going to be going again soon, working with teachers. But the next time I go, I'm working with Ghana Library Service. And we have donated books to Ghana Library Service. And Ghana Library Service gives the books out to schools, especially young children and young people in villages that maybe haven't got access to a big normal school. They have got schools in a little village, but we're giving books. And I can't wait to go and sit on the carpet, sit on the floor with young people, children, adults, parents around me and reading. And I'm going to be teaching them about maths. So what's happening on Friday, March the 6th? Ghana Independence Day. Before 1957, Ghana was called the Gold Coast. Why was it called the Gold Coast? Because when travelers went to the Gold Coast, which is now called Ghana, they saw gold everywhere. My ancestors were drinking from gold goblets, using gold knife and forks, wearing golden jewelry. It was such a sight to be seen. That's what we remember. And Ghana independence has given us that independence to carry on our own, but make it even better, 100 times better. So next year, 2027, is a special year for us because that is 70 years. So listen to the math show because I'll be telling you more about that as we get closer to the time. So just to remind you, this week is National Careers Week. Maths makers are ambassadors for National Careers Week. And National Careers Week is designed to provide a focus for careers, for choices of careers, for guidance of careers for our young people. So maybe you're 16 and above and you're not too sure about what to do. You've gone to college, you're thinking, have I made the right decision? This is the week where your college, your institution will invite different careers to come in and talk about different options. And maths makers are ambassadors for National Careers Week. When you go to a careers event, it helps you to focus on what you want to do. It supports you as young people. And I mention it on the maths show because if you're good at maths, you have got more opportunities to get the career of your choice. So the maths show is preparing you for that. And that's why I am supporting National Careers Week. And that's why maths makers are ambassadors. That means they believe in National Careers Week. They are promoting, they are supporting, they are giving their rubber stamp to National Careers Week. So when they come onto the show, they can talk about National Careers Week. Even if it's happened, we can still talk about it. Listen, today's show, which was called Fractions, and even more Fractions, has been really, really special. I've had such an amazing time because when people say, I don't like fractions, I can't do fractions, I've proved you. Oh, look at that. I've just had someone who sent me a lovely message. Happy Independence Day in advance. Thank you. Isn't that lovely? So one of my now this lady is also a top mathematician. I've learned so much from her, okay, when it comes to maths. And she sent me a lovely message. And I used to work with Munaza. So Munaza, I know you're listening. Thank you very much. and I look forward to Friday as well. Thank you. I've also had a couple of parents who've just said to me, how did you make fractions so much fun? That's a good question. How did I make fractions so much fun? I made fractions fun because I had a feeling for fractions. I had an empathy for fractions. That's why I made fractions fun. So thank you to everyone who sent me a message. Thank you to Sovereign Comics. Thank you to all the wonderful parents, carers, everything. Remember, this is National Careers Week, not National Carers Week, National Careers Week, okay? So thank you to everyone. And remember, the math show every Wednesday between the hour of 5:30 and 6:30 on Chalk Hill Community Radio Station. And what do we always say at Chalk Hill Community Radio Station? We are keeping the community connected. But it's not just the community in Neasden, it's the community around England, London, and the world. And the world, yes. Different countries around the world are listening in to Chalk Hill Community Radio Station. Have a great evening. Thank you for listening. It's Mr. Numbervator saying goodbye. And remember your times tables. See you later. Bye-bye.